The one thing that I did forget to mention at the end of the last episode of this podcast was that the NATO Summit was to be happening this week, which of course meant that everyone's favourite president, Donald Trump, would be in town for the event. Now, this is obviously going to stir some tensions because there have been a lot of divisions in NATO quite recently. We've had the French President Emmanuel Macron make comments that NATO is now essentially brain dead. And with obviously Trump's decision to pull troops out of Syria and Turkey's decision to attack the Syrian Kurds that were helping America defeat ISIS, that's obviously been a very, very big sticking point. There's been a lot of debate and controversy about how to square those circles. But with the NATO summit, there are big implications for the campaign as well, because the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has been very, very careful to not be seen with the US President side by side. Boris Johnson and Donald Trump did not have a formal bilateral meeting with each other. They did not have that sort of sit-down conversation that you normally see with one leader here, one leader there, and both talking to camera, normally seen as a photo opportunity. That did not happen this time in this situation. And it was actually the Prime Minister that insisted that there not be a bilateral meeting because, of course, he's in the middle of a general election campaign at the moment, and the Conservatives were worried about the possibility of Donald Trump interfering in the election. And, of course, the other thing to note is that the president is really unpopular in the UK, with 67% of Brits disapproving of the job he's done. So you have to understand that it's a very, very delicate situation, and especially in such a sensitive campaign with issues around the NHS and a future US-UK trade deal. This is a very, very sticky situation for the Prime Minister to be in, and he does not want to be seen to be cozying up to him too much in case that's used against him in a negative light. And to his credit, Trump did stay relatively well behaved. He didn't seem to interfere in the campaign too much. He was asked about who he was backing or what his thoughts were on the election, and he said that he wasn't going to get involved, but he does think that Boris Johnson was very capable, and he said that he was friends with him for a long time and he's backing him sort of thing, but not directly intervening in the campaign and saying vote for Boris and don't vote for Jeremy Corbyn. In fact, he said that he could work with anyone, so take that for what you will. There was even talk that Jeremy Corbyn himself might have actually had a one-on-one meeting with the president at a Buckingham Palace reception on Tuesday night, but I don't think that materialised. I didn't hear much about that in the news, but Corbyn would have confronted the president, essentially saying to him, look, the NHS is not for sale, do not put your hands on it, and Corbyn was actually touting his ability to sort of impress the US president on how good the NHS is. So I don't think that happened, but again, you can clearly see how both parties are trying to navigate this NATO summit and navigate the arrival of the US president in the week before the general election. One more quick nugget from the NATO summit, because we had a viral video doing the rounds on Wednesday morning. This is the scene, right? You have 4 world leaders, Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, Dutch Prime Minister Rutte, British Prime Minister Johnson, and French President Macron, plus Princess Anne, huddled around in a circle at a Buckingham Palace reception, essentially taking the absolute mickey out of Donald Trump. Some absolutely hilarious things were said. Check this video out if you haven't seen it yet, but honestly, the way that Justin Trudeau just makes fun of the fact that Emmanuel Macron was late, somehow because of a press conference that Donald Trump had, and the amount of time he took, it is so hilarious to see how the world leaders really do think about Donald Trump. And of course, the man in question was absolutely livid about this. He even labelled Justin Trudeau two-faced and argued that the reason why Trudeau was behaving so badly towards him was because Trump gave him a telling off about the fact that Canada has not been committing 2% of its GDP towards funding NATO. Take for that what you will.